people often ask me, what do you do? Like, are you a sponsor? Like, are you like a sober companion? Do you teach me how to get sober? Like, what do you do? And I love that question, by the way. No, I'm not a sponsor. A sponsor's job is to take you through the steps of a very specific program, which is the 12 steps, which I love as part of how I believe you can step into a very powerful recovery, right? That's my program, but it doesn't have to be yours. But that's the one that I love. But that's the job of a sponsor. They walk you through the steps. Now, me as a coach, I don't do that. I will ask you to get a program if I believe that you need one, right? We kind of have to assess together what the state of the union is with your world, and how you go about your alcohol or your drug use or whatever it is that you use to tap out and to kind of navigate life. And if I believe that you fall under the category that needs reprogramming from the core on out, I will suggest a program of action. So I let them do that part. I, however, will help you kind of create a path of action for your life. Okay, so we have the informational part, right? We have the program that needs to come into place, right? Which hopefully gets you to a spiritual connection that is powerful. But as a human being, you don't just need that. As you navigate into sobriety, you start to become more aware of other ways that you navigate life, that you operate, maybe ways that are also keeping you stuck, right? Narratives that maybe, I don't know, you put in your mind as an operational system when you were 5 years old or when you were 15. Maybe you were operating out of, this filter, when you put on a filter on a lens, like a rosy color filter, a beer filter. I give you a different filter and I invite you to contemplate things from a different way. Hey, how about, could it be possible that, what do you think that means? And I'll ask you questions and I'll get you curious. Because my job as your recovery coach is to, number one, always remember that where you are, I was. And that crazy set of things that you're feeling, I felt, right? Other people, it may not make sense to them because they're using the rationale judgment, right? To kind of, look at what you're doing and how you're acting or what you're saying or what you're feeling and then give you their version. But someone who doesn't have what you and I have when it comes to, this pattern of addiction, right? And of doing that thing that ultimately hurts us and we don't want to do, but we do it anyway. Like there's a particular way that we think and that we feel when we are actively doing that. And I will sit in that place, and because I can't not, that's part of who I am, right? And from that place, I will help you shift a perspective, right? I will help you look at things in a different way so that we can truly start laying the foundation for massive change in your life. Yes, there is a sobriety part, and that is vital, but sobriety just based on abstinence without truly elevating your life, without truly adding new tools so that you can do life differently, which is part of what a program does, right? It reprograms the instructions that you have to navigate life, which is why a program is so vital. But there are other parts to us as human beings. We have, other afflictions that may come up, like codependencies. We are gonna look at your, old traumas. We're gonna take ownership of the healing that needs to happen and what does that look like for you. We're gonna look at the relationship with your body, right? Because we get so disconnected. The beautiful physical vessel that we get given to carry ourselves through life. We are going to take care of our spirit. What works for you? We're going to talk about meditation. We're going to create a bunch of new habits in your life so that you can truly start to transform on all the levels that you are as a human being, not just the one, right? And we're gonna, more than anything, help you unlearn things that are keeping you in a place of non-growth. So it's funny, Because I don't know how old you are, but at some point we believe ourselves to be grown-ups and adults, right? And so we're like, okay, well, what do I have to learn? And the question is, well, what do you have to unlearn? What do you have to let go of? What are the things, the ideas, the neuronal pathways, right? That this is what I do, this is how I go through this is how I react to the situation. We have to unlearn a lot of things in order to grow. And so my job as your coach is to share my experience from the perspective of me as an addict, bring in all the information and the tools and the inspiration and all of it, but more importantly, put together a path of action. Right? A path of action so that you can then step into that movement forward, right? Not just say, oh, how cool, yes, I'm inspired. Oh yeah, I have all the information, sweet, and now what? And to keep you accountable. Because ultimately, I remember when I was actively drinking, so active in my addiction, I felt like my life was just like a bunch of little scattered pieces. You know, like I didn't feel whole. It was actually red wine that made me feel whole. Red wine was like the super glue for all of those little pieces. And in sobriety, I was just painfully aware of the gap, of that empty, painful space between those pieces. So my job as a coach is to help you take all of those pieces and bring them back into one beautiful whole, so that becomes the center of who you are as a human being, and you can start to operate out of that feeling of wholeness and centeredness. And if you lose it, I will help you set tools, right, that you can use to reconnect to that higher self. The most powerful way to describe it happened actually for me when I met my own coach many years ago. And I was explaining to her that while sober, I felt just so bad and hopeless and like a failure. And I kept saying, I just don't do marriage well, and I don't do this, and I'm not that, and I can't. And so she was like, she just hugged me. And I said, will you work with me? I desperately wanted that sense of serenity and of self that she had. And she said, I will. And then she said, and this changed my life, she said, let's get you back home. And for someone like me who really desperately felt out of place in her own skin, and you may know what I'm talking about, those words were music to my ears. And so, yeah, she got me home. And she got me home so much that my mission today is to do the same for other people, to bring people home, to help people detach from the shit that keeps them small and powerfully step into the best version of themselves. Not in spite of all the shit that has happened for them or to them, we'll change that, but because of that shame, because of that fear, because of that addiction, because of that past, because of that story, because of that brokenness, because, not in spite of. And that's when you see, again, that shift that I was just mentioning, that life didn't happen to you, but for you, and how you can live in that version of moving forward. It's kind of cool. That's what I do. I can't wait to have you work with me so we can get you home.